What would happen if an empire killed thousands of innocent humans, then expected Earth to answer with nothing more than anger and paperwork? What would happen if they gave humanity only 40 seconds to run? Before we go deeper, give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who enjoys stories where humanity does not start the war, but always finishes it. Columbus Station was not a military base. That was the first line written in the Galactic Council investigation report. It was written in calm words. Cold words. Official words. Columbus Station was listed as a civilian research and living station. Category 2. No heavy weapons. No battle fleet. No military command center. Only basic defense systems made to stop small rocks, broken satellites, and space debris. To the Council, it was just a station. To humanity, it had been home. Columbus Station floated beyond Mars' orbit, bright and proud in the dark. It was the largest human home so far from Earth. More than 14,000 people lived there. Families, scientists, engineers, doctors, teachers, shopkeepers, cooks, pilots, children. Thousands of children. It had schools where young students learned history under artificial sunlight. It had a hospital with a maternity ward where new human life was born far from Earth. It had parks with real soil carried from Earth at great cost. There were trees grown from seed, trees that took years to become tall enough for children to sit beneath them. There was a main street with cafes, small stores, and a bar called the Long Way Home. The walls of that bar were covered with pictures left by crews who passed through on their way to the outer system. Some pictures showed smiling workers. Some showed tired pilots. Some showed families with newborn babies, standing under the station lights as if space itself had become a neighborhood. Columbus Station was not made to conquer. It was made to live. The Heron Empire did not care. The attack came without warning that mattered. A single Heron strategic bombardment ship entered the station zone. It was called a Purifier. That was not a human name. That was the name the Heron military gave to ships designed to erase targets from space. The Purifier sent one message. This station exists inside a system the Heron Empire has marked for future acquisition. All civilian populations must leave all non-Heron structures immediately. Failure to obey will result in enforcement action. The message reached Columbus Station 40 seconds before the first shot. 40 seconds. Not enough time to wake a child. Not enough time to run across a hallway. Not enough time for a teacher to count every student. Not enough time for a mother to find both of her children. Not enough time for a doctor to move patients from a hospital bed. Then the Purifier fired. The attack lasted 11 minutes. After 11 minutes, Columbus Station no longer existed as one structure. It broke apart in silence, burning in flashes of blue and white light against the stars. Sections of the station cracked open. Parks, homes, classrooms, shops, kitchens, medical rooms, all of it became metal and dust. 14,211 people were aboard Columbus Station. Only 94 survived. They survived because a cargo ship named Meridian was docked at the outer port during a supply run. Its captain was Tom Briggs, 41 years old, from Salt Lake City on Earth. He heard the Heron message. He understood what it meant faster than most people would have. He had 37 seconds to choose. He chose the children. He opened his cargo hold. He told his crew to pull in anyone they could reach. They dragged children through smoke-filled corridors. They carried the injured. They shoved people into storage spaces and locked them down. Briggs did not wait for permission. He did not ask for orders. He filled his ship until it could carry no more. He saved 94 lives. He did not save everyone. That truth stayed with him. When Meridian broke away from the station, Briggs looked through the rear viewport and watched Columbus Station die behind him. He watched a place full of laughter and ordinary life become a field of broken lights. He kept flying because the children were still breathing. The emergency beacon from Meridian reached the nearest Earth relay 4 hours later. The relay sent the message home in 11 minutes. The report reached Admiral Sarah Chen at 2:17 in the morning, Mars Command time. She had been asleep. She was not asleep after that. Chen sat at her desk in the dark and read everything. The sensor records. The survivor list. The debris scan. The Heron message. She read the words enforcement action 3 times. Enforcement action. 14,000 people. 40 seconds. For 22 months, Chen had warned Earth leadership about the Heron Empire. She had sent 3 threat reports. Each report said the same thing with growing urgency. The Heron were expanding. Their military was moving closer. Their language was becoming sharper. Their ships were testing borders. Their leaders believed humans would negotiate forever. Chen had recommended a stronger defense posture around deep space civilian stations. Her reports had been reviewed. Then delayed. Then filed away. Diplomats had wanted more talks. Politicians had wanted more time. The Galactic Council had wanted calm. Everyone had wanted to believe the Heron Empire could be managed with careful words. Now Columbus Station was gone. Chen sat in the dark for 6 minutes. Then she turned on the lights. Her first call was to the Joint Military Council. Her second call was to the President of the United Earth Republic. Her third call was to Colonel Duke Reeves at Outpost 7. Reeves answered on the second ring because he always did. Chen said, "Duke, I need you back on Earth within 48 hours. Reeves heard her voice and knew something terrible had happened. He asked, "What happened?" Chen told him. For a moment, there was only silence. Then Reeves said one word. "Columbus?" Chen said, 94 survived. Captain Briggs saved everyone he could fit. Another silence came through the line. Then Reeves asked, "What are we doing?" Admiral Sarah Chen was a careful woman. She did not waste words. She had spent 30 years in command, learning that words became orders, and orders changed lives. She answered with one word. The United Earth Council met 31 hours after the attack. The chamber was full, but no one spoke loudly. Some leaders looked angry. Some looked lost. Some looked ashamed because they had seen Chen's old reports. They knew those reports had warned them. Captain Briggs testified first. He sat at the table in front of the council and told them what he saw. He spoke in a flat voice, not because he did not care, but because something inside him had gone quiet. He described the 40 seconds. He described loading children into a cargo hold. He described leaving while the station broke behind him. Then 3 survivors spoke. One had been a nurse. One had been a school assistant. One had been a station engineer. Their stories were different, but their eyes were the same. For 4 hours, the council listened to grief. Then Admiral Chen stood. She placed a folder on the table. It held her 3 threat assessments. Each one had official review stamps. Each one had warned of Heron aggression. She said, "I am not showing you these to assign blame. I am showing you these because process takes time, and time is what Columbus Station did not have." The room stayed silent. Chen continued, "Diplomacy produced talks, but no signed peace. It produced hope, but no shield. I am not here to recommend more talks." Council Chair Margaret Yates looked at her and asked, "Admiral, what are you recommending?" Chen placed another file on the table. Operation Reckoning. She said, "I recommend the complete removal of the Heron Empire's ability to project military force. Not the destruction of their people. Not the destruction of their cities. Not their government. Their military reach. Their fleets. Their forward bases. Their weapons infrastructure. Their command network. She looked across the council. When we finish, the Heron Empire will still exist. Their people will live. Their workers will work. Their families will eat together. But they will never again be able to send one ship into a human system and fire on civilians. The debate lasted 9 hours. No one argued that Earth should do nothing. Columbus Station had ended that argument forever. The debate was about scale. Some leaders worried the response would look too large. Some worried the Galactic Council would call Earth dangerous. Some worried other species would fear humanity. A council member named Torres finally spoke. "Admiral, the Heron sent one ship. You are asking permission to dismantle an entire military. The galaxy may call that disproportionate." Chen looked at him. "One ship killed more than 13,000 people," she said. "If we destroy one Heron ship in return, what lesson do they learn? They learn the price of killing our civilians is one ship. Then they will decide if that price is worth paying again." No one answered. Chen said, "I am not interested in revenge alone. Revenge is easy. I am interested in prevention. If their military reach is gone, there is no next Columbus Station." The vote passed. 21 in favor. 3 against. Chen walked out of the chamber and called Reeves. "We are authorized," she said. "Full scope?" he asked. "Full scope." "Then get the fleet ready," Chen said. "First strike package moves in 72 hours. Reeves paused. 72 hours is fast. Chen said, "Tell them what happened to Columbus Station. Tell them about Briggs. Tell them about the 94. Tell them about the 40 seconds. She paused. "They will be ready." And they were. The United Earth War Fleet gathered at Waypoint Kestrel, 3 light-years from Heron territory. 73 warships arrived over 68 hours. It was not the largest fleet in the galaxy, but it was the largest force Earth had ever placed in one operation. Some ships carried weapons the public had never seen. Some carried engines far faster than anything the Heron expected. Some were old ships rebuilt with new armor, new fire control, and silent systems made for deep strike warfare. But Chen did not give the fleet a speech full of fire. She knew they were angry. She knew they were ready to fight. That was not the problem. The problem was control. She sent one message to all commanders. "Columbus Station will be avenged by what we destroy. It will be honored by what we choose not to destroy." That sentence spread through every ship. It mattered. Because Earth was not going to become the Heron. Take a moment here, hit the like button if this story has pulled you in, subscribe for more HFY science fiction, and share the video so another listener can see what happens when humanity answers with discipline instead of blind rage. Operation Reckoning had 4 phases. Phase 1 was called the Silence. 14 fast Earth ships moved across a 20-system arc and destroyed every Heron strategic communication relay in the region. The relays were automated. No crews. No civilians. No lives lost. But without those relays, the Heron military became blind and deaf. Their fleets could not receive orders. Their bases could not coordinate. Their commanders could not understand the whole battlefield. Every Heron ship became isolated, trapped with old information and no clear picture. Phase 1 took 11 hours. By the end of it, the Heron military command was shouting into darkness. Phase 2 was called the Grounding. 17 Heron forward military bases were targeted across 5 systems. These bases held fuel, weapons, launch bays, repair docks, and military supplies. They allowed Heron ships to operate far from home. Chen's rules were strict. Destroy weapons. Destroy launch systems. Destroy fuel production. Disable command centers. Do not fire on crew quarters. Do not fire on medical areas. Do not fire on civilian workers. Captain Marcus Cole led the strike on Installation K7, the base that had launched the purifier which destroyed Columbus Station. Cole knew that fact. Every officer on his bridge knew it. His ship, Ironclad, moved into range with a formation of Earth warships behind it. The Heron base tried to power weapons, but it was too late. The first Earth strike destroyed the weapon storage. The second destroyed the launch bays. The third crushed the command center. The last strike burned through the fuel processing systems, leaving the base unable to support any military operation. Cole did not fire on the living sections. He did not fire on the medical wing. He did not fire on the civilian contractors. When the strike ended, Installation K7 could no longer launch ships, store weapons, or support war. But its people were alive. One of Cole's officers said quietly, "They gave Columbus 40 seconds. Cole answered, "And we give them better, because we are not them." That became another line repeated through the fleet. Because we are not them. Phase 2 ended with all 17 Heron forward bases disabled. Earth records listed wounded personnel, damaged systems, and captured military data. Confirmed deaths were 0. The Galactic Council received its first emergency warning 6 hours into Phase 2. By then, it was already too late to stop the shape of what was coming. Phase 3 was the hardest. It targeted the Heron fleet itself. The Heron Empire had 412 warships spread across its military zone. After Phase 1, they had no central command. After Phase 2, they had no forward bases. They were still dangerous, but they were no longer a single army. They were separate problems in the dark. Admiral Chen commanded Phase 3 from the UES Resolution. She stood inside the Combat Information Center, surrounded by maps, signals, ship icons, and live reports. She did not shout. She did not panic. She watched the battlefield like a surgeon watching a patient. The first major challenge came 4 hours into Phase 3. A Heron captain named Vathal had gathered 31 ships after the communication network went silent. Most commanders without orders would stay still. Vathal did not. He understood that something was wrong. He formed a disciplined group and moved toward the Heron home system. Chen respected the decision. Respect did not change the mission. She sent Captain Dana Reyes with 12 Earth ships to intercept them. Reyes could have attacked immediately. She did not. She placed her ships across Vathal's route and opened a channel. Heron formation, this is Captain Dana Reyes of the United Earth Navy. You are being intercepted, not attacked. You have 30 minutes to change course and stand down. If you do, this engagement ends now. If you do not, I will disable your formation. Your crews will survive. Your ships will not remain functional. The choice is yours. Chen listened from Resolution and said nothing. 22 minutes later, the Heron formation turned away. 31 ships changed course in perfect order. They did not flee. They did not scatter. They stood down with discipline. Reyes opened the channel again. Your decision is noted. Proceed on your new course. Your commander made a smart choice in bad circumstances. Later, Chen sent the transcript to every Earth captain. Her message was simple. This is professional conduct under pressure. Not every Heron commander made the same choice. 87 Heron ships chose to fight. They fought hard. They were cut off, confused, and angry, but they were trained soldiers. They saw enemy ships and did what soldiers often do. They engaged. The battles lasted 19 hours across 8 zones. Earth had better coordination. Better weapons. Better information. But the Heron ships did not break easily. Some fought past safe limits. Some refused surrender. Some tried desperate maneuvers even after their weapons failed. 32 Heron ships were destroyed because the battle left no safe option. 55 were disabled. And then something happened the Heron did not expect. Earth medical ships moved in. Human crews boarded disabled Heron vessels. They treated wounded enemies. They sealed leaking compartments. They helped move injured Heron sailors away from damaged reactor rooms. The Heron had expected hatred. They found doctors. They had expected executions. They found rescue teams. This confused them more than any weapon. Slow ship-to-ship messages spread through the remains of the Heron fleet. Captain Vathal had stood down and survived. Other ships that did not fight were not destroyed. Earth was not killing for pleasure. Earth was removing a capability. 324 Heron ships eventually chose not to engage. They parked in space and waited. When Phase 3 ended, Chen sent one message to every ship that had stood down. Operation Reckoning is not aimed at the Heron people. Your ships have been logged as disengaged. You may return home. You will not be pursued. 324 ships went home. That message reached the Galactic Council before Chen did. The Council called an emergency session. The Grand Assembly Hall filled with representatives from 311 species. It was the same hall where humanity had once been judged, dismissed, doubted, and underestimated. Now every species watched Earth with fear in their eyes. The official reason for the session was written in careful council language. It said Earth's military operation was an unprecedented destabilizing action that required immediate review. Destabilizing action. That was what they called it. Not Columbus Station. Not 14,000 dead, not 40 seconds. Earth. Admiral Chen came in person. She did not have to. The Galactic Council had no legal power to order Earth to stop. It could complain. It could debate. It could issue statements. It could apply pressure. But it could not command a united Earth admiral in the middle of an authorized operation. Chen came because she wanted them to see her face. The High Speaker asked, "Admiral Chen, what are your intentions regarding Phase 4? Phase 4 was the final step. The Heron home fleet. 62 warships still guarded the inner orbit of the Heron home world. They had not yet been engaged. They were the last military force capable of defending the Empire's power. Before answering, Chen requested the Council display system. She showed the Heron transmission. 40 seconds of warning. She showed the words enforcement action. She showed sensor records from Meridian. Then she showed the rear viewport footage. The hall watched Columbus Station break apart. No one spoke. Even species with no human faces looked shaken in their own way. Some lowered their heads. Some closed their inner eyelids. Some turned away from the screen. Chen let the silence remain. Then she said, 14,211 people. 4,812 children. 1 Heron ship. 11 minutes. She looked across the assembly. The Galactic Council did not call an emergency session for Columbus Station. I am noting that for the record. The silence deepened. Then Chen answered the question. Phase 4 will disable the Heron home fleet. Weapons and drives only. Crews alive wherever possible. When it is complete, the Heron Empire will no longer be able to send warships beyond its home system and attack civilians. The High Speaker said, the Council is concerned about the scale of Earth's response. Chen replied, the scale is the point. She did not raise her voice. She did not need to. A small response would teach the Heron Empire to adjust its math. It would tell them there is a price for killing civilians, and maybe next time they could afford it. Operation Reckoning removes the math. It says if you do this, you lose the ability to do it again. Some representatives shifted in their seats. Chen continued, "You call this destabilizing. I disagree. A military empire that believes it can destroy civilian stations and survive with minor losses is the unstable force. We have ended that calculation." For 6 hours, the council argued. Some condemned Earth. Some supported Earth without saying it too openly. Some feared what this meant for the future. Some quietly understood that the galaxy had become safer because humanity had done what the council had not. Near the end, the Scifi representative stood. The Scifi were a smaller civilization and a founding member of the Free Worlds Compact. Their voice carried across the chamber. The Galactic Council is alarmed by what Earth has done, the representative said. It should be equally alarmed by what it failed to do before 14,000 civilians died. No one answered. The session ended without stopping Earth. And Admiral Chen returned to her fleet. Before the final act begins, tap like if you respect the way Earth chose precision over cruelty, subscribe for more stories like this, and share this video with someone who needs to hear why humans are feared, not because we destroy everything, but because we remember everything. Phase 4 began 6 hours later. The Heron home fleet fought. They were not cowards. Their families were on the planet below. Their cities were beneath them. Their skies were behind them. They believed they were the last wall between their people and destruction. In another war, perhaps they would have been heroes. In this one, they were the last weapons of an empire that had murdered a station. Earth moved with terrible control. Human ships did not fire on the planet. They did not strike cities. They did not target civilian stations. They did not destroy orbital farms, hospitals, or transport docks. They targeted weapons. They targeted engines. They targeted command links. The battle lasted 9 hours. 58 Heron ships were disabled. Their guns were gone. Their drives were dead. Their crews remained alive. 4 ships were destroyed. 2 were lost when their own damaged drive systems failed under combat stress. 2 more were destroyed after their captains tried to ram Earth ships rather than accept defeat. Chen recorded those deaths. Not as trophies. As names. She ordered medical teams forward within an hour of every engagement. Human medics boarded enemy ships again. They treated burns, broken limbs, radiation sickness, and shock. They left wounded Heron sailors in stable condition wherever possible. By the time Phase 4 ended, the Heron military was gone. Not the Heron people. Not their homes. Not their language, their art, their history, their families, their markets, their schools, or their cities. Only the one thing Operation Reckoning had been designed to remove. Their ability to send war into someone else's sky. 48 hours after Phase 4, the Heron civilian government sent a transmission to Earth. Its voice was careful. The Heron Empire acknowledged the outcome of the operation and requested formal negotiations for a permanent non-aggression treaty. Chen wrote Earth's first response herself. Earth accepts formal negotiations. A diplomatic team will arrive within 30 days. Before talks begin, the Heron civilian government must formally acknowledge the attack on Columbus Station and account for the command decisions that caused it. Earth is not requesting punishment as the opening condition. Earth is requesting acknowledgement. 14,000 civilians died. Their deaths must be named before the future can be discussed. The Heron government took 9 days. On the 10th day, they broadcast a formal statement. They acknowledged Columbus Station by name. They admitted the attack should not have happened. They named the military commander who ordered the Purifier mission. They named the chain of command that allowed it. It was not enough. But it was a beginning. Negotiations lasted 11 months. They were difficult. The Heron government had no military leverage left. Earth could have demanded almost anything. But Earth's lead diplomat, Catherine Wells, understood something important. A treaty signed only from fear would not last forever. A peace that leaves one side humiliated and helpless becomes a seed for the next war. 3 months into the talks, Wells called Chen. "They are asking for a limited defensive fleet," Wells said. "Ships that cannot leave their home system. No offensive reach. Enough to defend their planet." Chen was quiet. Then she said, "Yes." Wells was surprised. "I did not expect that answer." Chen said, "A civilization that cannot defend its home world lives in permanent fear. Fear does not create peace. It creates desperation. So Earth allowed it. Under strict limits. Monitored systems. No long-range military drives. No expeditionary weapons. No forward bases. No Purifier-class ships. No force projection. The Heron would be able to protect their world. They would not be able to threaten anyone else's." The treaty was signed 11 months later. On that same day, Captain Tom Briggs received a package at his home in Salt Lake City. He still flew cargo routes. He still captained the Meridian. He had not retired. He said flying was the only way he knew how to keep moving. The package came from Admiral Chen. Inside was a folded flag. Not the Earth flag. The Columbus Station flag. It had flown in the station's main corridor before the attack. A recovery team had found it in the debris field, damaged but whole enough to fold. There was a letter with it. "Captain Briggs, you saved 94 people with 37 seconds of decision. Columbus Station's flag should be with the person who made sure some of its people came home. The operation, the treaty, and everything after are what we owe the people we lost and the people you saved. You did your part first. Thank you." Briggs sat at his kitchen table for a long time. He held the flag like it was something alive. Then he folded it carefully and placed it above his fireplace. It stayed there. The Galactic Council spent 3 months debating its final resolution on Operation Reckoning. In the end, it did not condemn Earth. It noted what had happened. It recorded Columbus Station by name. It created new laws for civilian installations across Council space. From that day forward, no military power could strike a civilian zone without a mandatory 30-day evacuation window. The Heron had given 40 seconds. The Council now required 30 days. It was a rule written in law, but born from human grief. Years later, students across the galaxy would study Operation Reckoning. Some would call it brutal. Some would call it necessary. Some would say Earth had gone too far. Others would say Earth had stopped a future full of burning stations. But every serious historian agreed on one point. Humanity had done something rare. It had struck with overwhelming force, then stopped exactly where it said it would stop. It had destroyed fleets, but not cities. It had broken an empire's military spine, but not its people. It had answered murder with power, but not madness. And that was what frightened the galaxy most. Not that humans could be angry. Every species could be angry. Not that humans could fight. Many species could fight. What frightened them was that humanity could grieve, mobilize, strike across stars, dismantle an empire's war machine, save enemy sailors, write a treaty, and still remember the name of a civilian station as if it were a wound that never fully closed. Because Earth did not forget Columbus. Earth did not forget the children. Earth did not forget the 40 seconds. And after Operation Reckoning, no empire in the known galaxy ever again looked at a human civilian station and thought the cost could be calculated. They knew the truth now. If you kill humans in anger, they will mourn. If you kill humans by mistake, they will demand answers. But if you kill human children and call it enforcement action, then Earth will come. Not screaming. Not begging. Not rushing blind into revenge. Earth will come with records, fleets, medics, laws, and a plan. And by the time the galaxy calls an emergency session, the lesson will already be written across the stars.